I think across the board, data diversity is just such a complex topic that for me it's about thinking about how many layers you have to peel back. So two things that you just mentioned there I think are core, culture and business. So one is a lot of the assumptions, and the more layers you peel back, the more you see its underlying fundamental cultural norms, and it's not necessarily bad intentions, but it's cultural blindness, and we have to address that somehow. So part of it is actually peeling all the way back and saying how do decisions get made, how do you decide whatever the product is, who the product is for, who your audience is, how they're going to be using it, why you assume that this part of the population might be using it and another part might not. Also business, so thinking about it in a different way and actually making business sense of it and starting to focus on business cases and saying, okay, actually if we expose it to a wider audience, it makes perfect business sense. Maybe not to everyone, maybe that's too wide because as you said, there needs to be a balance, but slightly wider. But again, that goes back to business culture and culture. One thing that I find useful, so we've talked a lot about data collection, but also in terms of the complexity of the problem, I think it's interesting to look at 3 levels. So one is about data collection. So what kind of data do you collect? How do you collect it? Where do you collect it from? How do you make sure you have privacy and consent issues and all of that? That's one area that we've talked about a lot. Another area is a lot of product development also uses found data sets. But then again, you have to look at what did you find there and how do you assess what you found, and that all of the concerns that you might have about collecting data are also addressed in terms of the found data sets. And then the third level is how do you look at what hasn't been collected? So how do you identify gaps? Because there will be gaps, and the gaps are, our cultural blind spots often. And so I think we're going to talk about a little bit about diversity in terms of workplace diversity. I think that's one partial answer to it. But maybe I like that kind of segmentation of rules, norms, and responsibilities. So you said there need to be some directives, there need to be some outside incentives or directives. Then it's about norms and cultural change and awareness, which is great. This is more and more developing now, the fact that we're talking about diversity. And then it's about personal responsibility and about actually every single time you're working on something like that, asking yourself these questions.